Hummingbirds belongs to the family Trochilidae, many of which have glittering colors and elaborately specialized feathers. They are most abundant in South America, though about 12 species are found in US and Canada. Hummingbirds range in length from slightly more than 2 in 5 cm to 8 in 20 cm. It weighs about 2 to 20 gram and have a long slender bill. The bee hummingbird of Cuba is the smallest living bird. Hummingbirds can fly forward, straight up and down, sideways and backward, and can hover in front of flowers to obtain nectar and insects. Smaller species can beat their wings as fast as 80 beats per second. Hummingbirds, any of about 320 species of small, often brightly colored birds of the family Trochilidae, usually placed with the swifts in the order Apodiformes, but sometimes separated in their own order Trochiliformes. The brilliant, glittering colors and elaborately specialized feathers of many species, usually of the males only, led the 19th century British naturalist John Could to give many hummingbirds exotic common names, many of which are still in use. Example: coquet, fairy, hill star, wood star, sapphire, topaz, sungeon, and sylph. Hummingbirds are restricted in distribution to the New World, where the greatest variety and number of species occur in South America. About 12 species are found regularly in the United States and Canada. Only the ruby-throated hummingbird breeds in eastern North America, where it is found from Nova Scotia to Florida. The northernmost hummingbird is the rufous, which breeds from southeastern Alaska to northern California. The broad-tailed hummingbird breeds in the western United States and Central America, and the Allen's hummingbird breeds in the coastal regions of California. All hummingbirds are small and many are minute. Even the largest, the giant hummingbird of western South America is only about 20 centimeter, that is 8 inches long, with a body weight of about 20 gram, that is 0.7 ounce, less than that of most sparrows. The smallest species, the bee hummingbird, Melisuga, sometimes scalloped Helene. The smallest species, the bee hummingbird of Cuba and Islay of Pines, measures slightly more than 5.5 centimeter, of which the bill and tail make up about half, weighing about 2 gram. This species is the smallest living bird and ranks with the pygmy shrews as the smallest of warm-blooded vertebrates. Hummingbirds have compact, strongly muscled bodies and rather long, blade-like wings that, unlike the wings of other birds, articulate, that is, connecting to the body only from the shoulder joint. The architecture of the wing permits hummingbirds to fly not only forward but also straight up and down, sideways and backward, and to hover in front of flowers as they obtain nectar and insects from them. The rate at which a hummingbird beats its wings is the same during directional and hovering flight. It varies with the size of the bird. The larger the bird, the lower the rate. Consequently, the smallest hummingbirds have extremely rapid wing beat rates. In Califlox amethystina, one of the tiniest species, the male has a wing beat rate of about 80 per second. The female, which is larger, beats her wings at a rate of about 60 times per second. The ruby-throated hummingbird has a wing beat rate of about 70 per second in the male and about 50 per second in the female. The rate is much lower in the larger hummingbirds. The giant hummingbird, for example, beats his wings only about 10 times per second. In fact, the larger hummingbirds appear to beat their wings more slowly than do other birds of comparable size. The hummingbird's body feathers are sparse and often strongly metallic and rather scale like in appearance. The sexes are alike in appearance in a few species but are different in most species. Male of the later species display a variety of brilliance and ornamentation revealed only by birds of paradise and certain pheasants. The most typical badge is a gorget, a bib of iridescent feathers, the color of which depends on the viewing angle. Other specializations include crest, abbreviated or thickened shafts of wing feathers, spatulate wiry or flag-like tail feathers, and pantaloons, tufts of puffy feathers on the thighs, usually white. The hummingbird's bill, which is adapted for securing nectar from certain types of flowers, is usually rather long and always slender. In the thornbills, it is quite short, but in the sword-billed hummingbird, it is unusually long, contributing more than half of the bird's 21 centimeter length. The bill is slightly downcurved in many species, strongly so in the sickle bills. It is turned up at the tip in the awlbill and avocet bill. Most of the species that have been adequately studied do not show pair bond formation. In the violet ears and a few others, pair bonds are formed, and both sexes assume parental duties. In the majority of other species, the male defends a territory where he displays in the flight to passing females with swoops, dashes, and sudden stops and starts. Often he hovers in front of the female, oriented so that the light reflects the color of his gorget. Territorial males chase off hummingbirds of their own and other species and dive at large birds such as crows and hawks, and even at mammals, including humans. Most hummingbirds, especially the smaller species, have scratchy, twittering, or squeaky songs. In their U-shaped display flights, however, the wings often produce humming, hissing, or popping sounds, which apparently function much as do the songs of other birds. In many species, the tail feathers produce the sounds. The hummingbird's nest is a tiny cup of plant fibers, spider webs, lichens, and moss that is attached to a branch, a forked twig, a large leaf, or a rock ledge. In certain species, known as hermits, the nest is hung by a narrow stalk from the underside of a ledge or from the roof of a cave or culvert. The nest cup, set on one side of a mass of mud and plant material, is held level by careful weighting of the other side of the mass. The two elliptical white eggs, rarely one, are the smallest laid by any bird. Although proportionately they are equal to about 10% of the female's body weight, they are incubated for about 15 to 20 days. The young, hatched blind and virtually naked, are fed by regurgitation and fledge in about 3 weeks. The time from laying to fledging apparently is correlated with food supply.